welcome to TBC News. Our top stories tonight. Successful electric SGR train trial mesmerizes many.
4 July, TRC should be able to operate between Dar es Salaam and Dodoma through Morogoro.
TPA announces mega plans to transform Dar Port. Good evening, I'm Agnes Tuniga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa says the government is currently implementing numerous projects and producing experts in all fields, including building schools in every village as part of the government's strategy, and also boosting services in villages so that a good number of citizens can receive quality service. Speaking after inspecting the progress of the construction of Sabasita Primary School in Bunda District, Mara region, during his working visit, the Prime Minister says the construction of the school has the cost that the government 348.2 million Tanzanian shillings, aiming to help the children of pastoralists not to walk long distances to seek education.
Serikali yenu inayoongozwa na Mheshimiwa Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan.
This government is led by Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and one of her strategies is to build a school for every school age going child, and also school have built a special classroom for young children. If the school doesn't have a special classroom for these children from the age of 4 years, then one should be built at once for the sake of these children, because the education policy in Tanzania requires every school-age child to be taken to school.
On the other hand, the Prime Minister has instructed the Chief Medical Officer of the Mara region, Dr. Zablon Masatu, to work closely with the Chief Medical Officer of Bunda District, Dr. Adinani Hamidu, so as to find ways to upgrade the village clinic by increasing the number of buildings to serve mothers and children following an increase of residents in the village.
Wise through your criteria and through the district council to build a proper room for patients, especially women. The clinic should be strengthened so that the nearby villagers can also get services. Funds should be allocated so that pregnant women can get services quickly.
The chief government spokesperson, Mubare Matinyi, says Tanzania needs to be well prepared to lead the way in the railway transportation sector by being the first country in East Africa that has railway network that serves other neighboring countries. Matinyi made the remarks during the inaugural trials of the electric standard gauge railway train, well known as SGR, from Dar es Salaam to Morogoro. Mariam Mubiri has more.
Finally, Tanzania Railways Corporation TRC today commenced its inaugural trial journey of the electric SGR train. The project, which is estimated to cost a total of $10.4 upon completion, aims at improving the transportation sector and connecting Tanzania with other neighboring countries. Here, the chief government spokesperson, Mubare Matinyi, explains his assessment of the trials of the train.
We are marking actually the first attempt by Tanzania Railway Corporation to take passengers from Dar es Salaam all the way to Morogoro and back to Dar es Salaam. And that's why they're saying this is a testing historic day. This is a proof that sooner rather than later, we are going to start having a passenger train taking passengers from Dar es Salaam all the way to Morogoro and back to Dar es Salaam. And certainly before July, TRC should be able to operate between Dar es Salaam and Dodoma through Morogoro.
On the other hand, the Director General of Tanzania Railway Corporation, Masanja Kadodosa, says the project aims at improving the transport sector in the country.
So this is really a milestone in terms of, development, if you are talking about development for the country, but also maturity for the country. Because for this size of the project, in terms of monetary, you are talking about more than 23.3 trillion Tanzanian shilling, which is equivalent to 10.03 billion dollars. This is a mega project. So it's really something for our country to be proud of.
Some other stakeholders who have been part of the journey expressed their delight to the government for the achievement and the quality of the service they have received.
This journey has been very comfortable, as you can see, in terms of speed, in terms of seating capacity, in terms of services which we have received in this coach, because we call it coach in the railway industry. I would recommend that others also to thank the government for having this kind of projects.
I need to say thanks for my government, my president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, and all people from TRC. I'm so happy to be here.
The Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy, Dr. Doto Biteko, has just revealed that President Samia Suluhu Hassan and the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, will officially launch the Julius Nyerere hydropower project, Turbine 9, in few weeks' time. The move will be in addition to the already 235 megawatts that have already been added to the national grid following the activation of the Turbine 8. To understand what difference this 6.6 trillion Tanzanian shillings will make to the country's economy, we are joined by Ali Mkimo, who is an economic analyst, talking to Teddy Mparanyanga.
Thank you, Agnes Tuniga. Mr. Mkimo, welcome to TBC News. What difference will the additional megawatts make to the economy?
The 235 megawatts, they're going to increase the availability of the electric power. And we all know that the blackout caused losses to businesses and also even losses to the government because they were not able to collect the revenue as how it was before. So the difference will be that now businesses will be able to run properly compared to how it was before. And also for the economy, it means now we are in a position even to invite a lot of investors, because in any country, investors cannot come to invest in a country where there is no reliable source of energy. So this addition is going to increase even the rate of investors.
How critical is reliable power supply to the nation and economy?
Very important. More than 60 to 70% of various sectors within the economy depend on the availability of the energy sector. So when it's not doing that well, even these businesses will get to incur losses. And something else, it's very important to have a reliable source of energy for you to be able to get investors. And the other thing is, in any country's economy, if you do not have a reliable source of energy, that means even industries cannot be able to produce that well, and in the end you'll get to see the inflation rate will get to increase. So whenever there is a reliable source of energy, means the production is being done we could say that you reduce the cost of producing. But when there is a blackout, even the cost of producing get to increase. And when the producers, they tend to face high cost of production, what they're going to do is they are going to increase the prices. So when prices tend to increase, the inflation also increases. And when the inflation increases, what is going to happen is even the value of the currency will get to decrease. And when the value of the currency decrease, even the cost of importation tend to increase.
Lastly, what does the presidential dual launch of the Julius Nyerere hydropower project Turbine 9 mean to the nation?
Now it means, it's like saying that now the country is in a position to invite more investors. The country is now in a position to produce that much. And you can see that there will be a surplus of megawatts. You know, if you take a look at the wool project, the hydro electric project, you get to see that it is going to produce more than 2,000 megawatts, 2,115 megawatts. You'll get to see that the total demand is within 1,600 megawatts. So there is a surplus. This surplus could be sold outside the country and will be in a position to get foreign currency. Tourism sector will also be done in that area. And also, even the fishing industry is also going to benefit from that dam. And also, even the farming sector, the agriculture sector, if you take a look at it, more than 200,000 hectares of irrigation system could be able, you could get to obtain from that area.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ali.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Agnes Tuniga.
Thank you very much, Teddy Mparanyanga, and our analyst there, Ali Mkimo, for that analysis. The Tanzania Port Authority, TPA, has signed an agreement with 3 Chinese companies for the design and construction project involving tanks and infrastructure for receiving, storing, and distribution of oil products in the port of Dar es Salaam. Witnessing the signing of the project, the Minister of Transport, Professor Makame Mbarawa, says that the project will involve the construction of 15 tanks, including those for storing diesel, petrol and jet fuel, costing more than 678.6 billion shillings.
It will involve the construction of 15 tanks of oil. There will be tanks for diesel, petroleum and jet fuel, because all oil shipped will reach here and be taken elsewhere.
On the other hand, the TPA Director General Plasudus Mbosa says that the implementation of the project will help to reduce the costs caused by ships waiting time at ports to unload oil for an average of 11 to 12 days, as well as eliminating outturn losses at the port of Dar es Salaam and reduce complaints among oil traders.
Security of supply, na pia itasaidia uanzishwaji.
This will ensure security of oil supply. It will facilitate the establishment of strategic petroleum reserve, because oil is one of products that contribute to the change of foreign currency. The presence of strategic petroleum reserve will strengthen our currency.
Strategic petroleum reserve utaleta uimara wa sarafu yetu dhidi ya dola za Kimarekani.
Railway Major Bridge Engineering Group and MS Wuhan Engineering Company Limited and MS China National Chemical Engineering Construction Company Limited. Tanzania expects to be the host of the East African Regional Early Child Care and Education Conference 2024 that will be held in the country for 4 days from March 11th to 14th and is expected to be officiated by President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Revealing the information in the city of Dar es Salaam in his meeting with media editors, the Minister of Community Development, Gender, Women and Special Groups, Dr. Dorothy Gwajima, says that the country has been selected to host the conference, which has succeeded in bringing together all the sectoral stakeholders and cooperating in serving the child in all aspects.
Ongeza uwekezaji wa rasilimali katika malezi, makuzi na maendeleo ya awali ya mtoto.
To increase the investment of resources in early childhood education and care, if those services are well implemented, it will facilitate a beneficial workforce for the development of families and our nation as a whole. The future of our children and our families will depend on us as a nation. All stakeholders from public and private sectors. How do we invest in this area? This is now an East African agenda. How do we mold the people of East Africa?
On the other hand, the coordinators of the meeting say that the meeting will discuss how to improve children's services in line with the East African Agenda for Children's Services.
We believe that this conference is a unique opportunity for Tanzanians to learn more about various issues concerning early childhood development and care. It is also an opportunity for tourism, since we have about 600 people who have registered for this conference who we believe may tour around the nation.
Media agenda kubwa ni kufikisha ujumbe kwa jamii.
The main agenda of the media is to give information to the society, so we promise you, Honorable Minister, that the message will reach the public. We will use our pens well and write good documentaries so that the message can reach the audience. We need cooperation from the news department or a specific source from the ministry so that we can get information in time.
The meeting is expected to involve 1,100 participants, 700 from various countries and 400 local participants. Deputy Minister of Culture, Arts and Sports Hamisi Mwinjuma commends the management of Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation TBC for coming up with the idea of establishing a youth radio station that goes by the name of Bongo FM. Launching the station, Mwinjuma says that he believes that the radio station will quench youth's thirst through popular content that goes in parallel with them, as the group is one of the most important groups where, according to the population and housing census, is the group with the most Tanzanians.
Kuna namna tutaendelea kuendesha mambo ambayo vijana hawawezi kujielewa na inabidi waditune kweli kweli ili kuweza kusikiliza.
There is a way we will continue to run things for the youth. Because of the development of science and technology and the information sector, it is a must to produce content that will attract the youth.
TBC tumeamua kwamba lazima tuende na wakati.
We have decided as TBC that we must make changes. Changes are inevitable. We have made various changes for radio, television, and we have also advanced to full HD and have built modern radio studios. Today, TBC FM has officially been changed to Bongo FM.
The launch has gone hand in hand with the introduction of famous presenters who will lead in achieving the objectives of the stations. Furthermore, various music artists entertained the hearts of hundreds of residents of Dar es Salaam who showed up in large number at Mbagala Zakiem in the Temeke municipality. American spaces are open access learning and gathering places around the world that promote interaction both in person and virtual among local audiences and the United States. More than 600 American spaces are in universities, libraries, and other public places, as well as on embassy compounds in more than 140 countries. The American Center at U.S. Embassy in Dar es Salaam, which is currently closed, will reopen on March 1st, 2024. To discuss more on the importance of these spaces and how one can utilize them, our reporter Faida Ngaga spoke to the Culture Affairs Officer of the U.S. Embassy in Dar es Salaam, Chad Morris.
American spaces are public spaces. They originally started out as libraries, but as the world has gone digital, we've moved away from library spaces and more into sort of computer lab spaces that usually offer Wi-Fi, internet-connected computers, a lot of online resources. And then a big part of what we use the American corners, which are what we call the spaces that are outside of the embassy, is for education programming. So we do a lot of work with students to help them find colleges and universities in the U.S. So the American Corners have resources on hand that they can use for that kind of research, to find schools, to learn how to go through the application process for university in the U.S., which is very different than it is here in Tanzania. So the American Center, which is where we're sitting today, is inside the embassy. And it is also a public space. It requires a little bit more of a process to access, but it offers the same kinds of resources. Unfortunately, we are not able to offer Wi-Fi inside the embassy, but same internet-connected computers. It's a public space. that people can use, and we do all sorts of programming here in addition to education programs. Unfortunately, this space has been closed since COVID, and so now we're finally in a position where we can reopen it. We're very excited to start to bring people back to the American Center.
So how different is it going to be this time around?
We're hoping that it will not be different. We hope we're just going to go back to the way it was. There is a system, so we do ask folks who are going to use the American Center in the embassy to register. So there'll be an application when you come to the main entrance of the embassy. We ask for a couple of passport photos, and then the person will be issued an ID card.
So I understand there are over more than 600 American spaces worldwide. Are they uniform, or are they different depending on the culture and the geographical position?
Yeah, great question. We try to keep them fairly consistent so that one American space or American corner looks like the other. They all offer the same resources.
So in the past, how would you say the response has been with regards to people coming to the space before it was closed?
It's my understanding, it was before I arrived in Tanzania that it was closed. My understanding is this was a very popular space, and we're hoping that it will be popular again. We like to have visitors. We really want to engage with Tanzanians and be able to offer resources to them that they might not be able to get otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much impact have these spaces had in supporting U.S. foreign policy?
I think in our case, we see great participation. We have a lot of wonderful dialogues with people whenever we do an event at an American Corner or an American Center. I did hear a story. The Zanzibari author Abdulrazak Gurna, who's well known for winning the Nobel Prize and the book Paradise and others, commented that when he was growing up in Zanzibar that he used to go to the American Library, which is the precursor to the American Corner. He used to go to the American Library in Zanzibar, and he commented that that's where he discovered literature. So I'll say that was a great impact. It's a great story, but it's also an example of what one might be able to do.
The ambassador of Iran to Tanzania, Hossein Alvandi Batneh, urged the religious leaders in the country to continue to be united in building so as to build a nation of unity, peace, and harmony regardless of the religious differences and nationality. He made the remarks during a special interfaith conference brings together leaders of various religious sects to discuss various religious issues, including the role of religious leaders in nation building where people live in peace and harmony.
This is also, for me, it is very interesting. In Tanzania, different religions, for Christian, Muslim, Shia, Sunni, even the Hindus are living together. And this, in this way, I think the leader of the religious from different groups can play a very important and crucial role to unite people, to provide more harmony for the people. For Iran, we are ready to do our best for the people in the world, including between Iran and Tanzania.
And the director of the Culture Center of Iran in Tanzania, Dr. Ma'arif Mohsen, insists that such conferences should be continuous as they boost harmony amongst individuals, while some of the leaders who participated in the conference expressed their opinions about the religious conference.
You have church, you have your mosque, you have your temple, so sometimes we can come to your centers so we can have some interfaith dialogue there, so we can get more familiar with your customs.
As believers who believe in different religions and denominations, if we do not come together to share our ideas, we will be defeated by atheism. So one of the philosophies of such interfaith dialogue is for the leaders of different religions to share their ideas and viewpoints.
We have a lot of things experiencing in nowadays, the moral decay. When we come together, we get a time to see how we differ from one another.
This conference was very nice and very fruitful, and we got to learn about different culture with the peace, harmony, and love we have seen.
The conference, organized by the Iranian Culture Center, was attended by more than 100 people from various religions in the country. Non-governmental organizations in the country are urged to cooperate with the community to help people with special needs in the country, especially people with albinism. The call has been made in Dar es Salaam by Nazir Tajuddin immediately after handing over medical supplies to people with albinism, insisting on the community to express love for those in need.
This event specifically to create awareness of people to the corporate sector, where people should look into this community and extend their support. Last year we did a Valentine's event under the title called Love is Not Blind, because if love is blind, we cannot see anything. So we are not blind, we see things. We want to do anything for love. So what we generated in the previous fundraising, we utilized it here.
Some of the beneficiaries who came forward to receive the donation of the medical supplies worth more than 10 million shillings urged the government to continue to create an enabling environment for them, especially in protecting themselves from diseases, and make them prosper economically.
We really want the government to continue to care about us and appreciate people with disabilities, such as providing us with various aid and jobs.
Every time when the government change the policy direction of the country, they have to think too about albinism in Tanzania and people with various disabilities, because they need to go along with the system.
Chairperson of People with Albinism in Tanzania, sunscreen oils and sunglasses for people living with albinism are among the medical items donated by the development stakeholders. Before we wind up the local news tonight, let us now have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. And here is international news compiled by Ramadhan Mpenda and read by Teddy Mparanyanga.
Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh has announced the resignation of his government, which rules parts of the occupied West Bank, due to the escalating violence in the occupied territory and the war on Gaza. The move comes amid growing U.S. pressure on President Mahmoud Abbas to shake up the Palestinian Authority, as international efforts have intensified to stop the fighting in Gaza and begin work on a political structure to govern the territory after the war. In a statement to Cabinet, Shtayyeh, an academic economist who took office in 2019, said the next stage would need to take account of the emerging reality in Gaza, who has been laid waste by nearly 5 months of heavy fighting. He said the next stage would require new governmental and political arrangements that take into account the emerging reality in the Gaza Strip, the national unity talks, and the urgent need for an inter-Palestinian consensus. His resignation must still be accepted by President Abbas, who may ask him to stay on as caretaker until a permanent replacement is appointed.
And in sports news, the management of Simba Sports Club says that now is the time for the members and fans of the club to unite together in solidarity as the team seeks a ticket to qualify for the quarterfinals of the CAF African Champions League. The media and information communications manager Ahmed Ali says that the game against Jwaneng Galaxy carries the whole club's destiny of their participation in the Champions League, so the responsibility lies with the players to determine the outcome.
This match is ours. In any means, we want to win that match. Whoever know how to make us win, come with that Simba
yote ya kumwangamiza Jwaneng.
Well, dear viewers, with that sports item, that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. Do not miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I'm Agnes Tuniga. Thank you very much for watching and good night.